This year, our 11 Modern History class investigated the lives of 4 World War II soldiers who were also ex-Burnside boys. Through this project, we were able to tell a story of what was just a name on a plaque.
Our group investigated the life of Ronald Bellingham, who served as a wireless air gunner with the 283rd Squadron. Ronald Bellingham was born on 10th of February 1923. He was placed into Burnside Homes at age 8 and was extremely well known there. After leaving the orphanage in 1939, he enlisted into the RAAF in 1941 at age 18. He soon joined training with the Royal Canadian Air Force based in Calgary. He was a wireless operator and air gunner on the Vickers Warwick aircraft. His job was to transmit all messages to and from the aircraft to the base. He served as the reserve gunner, which meant that he would address minor emergencies, and if ever in difficulty, he had to send out positional signals. He was promoted to the position of flight sergeant on 7th of June 1943. Unfortunately, that year, on 8th of December, the Warwick BC-300 crashed after takeoff at Dorset, England. All 5 crew members were killed, with Bellingham at only age 20. What I enjoyed about this research project was that I didn't just look at the general history of World War II, but I got to look into a specific story.
Our group investigated the life of Sapper Arthur Murray. He came to Burnside at a young age after his mother had died and his father could no longer afford to look after him and his brothers. He worked as an engineer as recommended by his teacher because he enjoyed being creative and practical activities. In 1941, at aged 18, he enlisted into the RAE as a sapper. There, he travelled around, possibly New Guinea and definitely around Australia, and he made it all through the war and then eventually returned back home. During a clean-up at a Bathurst camp where the Italian POWs were being interned, on the 3rd of June 1946, one of the Italians struck an unexploded ordnance mortar bomb, which resulted in the death of Arthur Murray along with 4 others.
One thing which I found interesting during my research was that even after their deaths, the Burnside community were also sent the notices of their deaths. This shows just how influential of a role Burnside played in the lives of these men.
Our group investigated the life of Flight Sergeant Peter William Alexander Armstrong, who served in the 217th Squadron. Armstrong was at Burnside from 1926 to 1931 as his parents were separated and his mother was unable to care for him and his brother. He was diligent in his studies and participated in several sports. He left Burnside Homes in 1931 and enlisted in the war in 1941. After several years of training school in aviation, he earned the qualification of Flight Sergeant and Wireless Air Gunner.
After training in Canada and the UK, Armstrong was deployed to Ceylon, Livonia, currently modern-day Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, on the 30th of April 1943, he died in a training accident caused by pilot error. This resulted in not only the loss of his life, but 5 other crewmen. He's currently honored in the Australian War Memorial, with his name being mentioned on the honor roll, and is also buried in the Kanata General Cemetery in Sri Lanka.
Private Randall Barlow served in the 2nd and 4th Battalion. He was born in Western Australia and was the youngest of 4 boys. Sadly, his father died when he was just 3 years old, and his mother decided to move back to Sydney. Unable to take care of all 4 boys, she gave up Randall Barlow to the Burnside Homes when he was 6 years old. He lived here for 9 years, but when he was 11, he was swimming in Lake Parramatta when one of his friends unfortunately died. After he left the homes, he worked at a farm in Kurrajong as a farmhand, which he then left to work as a dairy farmer.
He enlisted on the 21st of October 1939 and trained in Ingleburn for 6 months. Following this, he was taken to Egypt, where he trained for 6 more months. He then fought in the 2nd 4th Battalion at the Battle of Tobruk, and later the Battle of Bardia and the Siege of Bardia, where on the 21st of January 1941, he was hit in the head with shrapnel. 1 month later, on the 20th of February 1941, he sadly died from his wounds. He was survived by his wife, Constance Alexandra, and son, John Barlow. Through our research of these 4 Burnside boys who became soldiers, we were able to learn a lot about them and their experiences living as Burnside boys and as soldiers in World War II. We were able to add some history and heritage to our school. These are no longer just names on a plaque. These are the stories of men who have fought and died for our freedoms today, lest we forget.